Hi there, and welcome to Faith in 5, where we believe you can build your faith in just 5 minutes. I'm your host, Reggie Wilson, and I'm back with another episode. We've been working on love. And let me tell you something, studying out love can be a really challenging thing. Because so much of our character comes out. I've seen in so many instances where I don't love, and I have to grow in those areas. But today we're going to focus on forgiveness. Yeah, forgiveness. Forgiveness is a big issue for a lot of us, including myself. I was going to go to Matthew 18, starting in verse 23. Matthew 18, starting in verse 21. I'm not going to cover all of it. I'm just going to stay in this particular scripture and explain the rest. But I'm going to give you an opportunity. It's in Matthew 18, starting in verse 21, to go back to the Bible and read it for yourself, the whole thing in its totality, so you can have a full picture of the unmerciful servant. Okay? So this comes upon when Peter asks Jesus a question. It's entitled The Parable of the Merciful Unservant. So starting in verse 21 of Matthew 18, the Bible reads, "Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, 'Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?' Here's Jesus' response. Jesus answered, 'I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. That's right, 77 times. And Jesus goes on and tells a story about the merciful servant. You always give them stories. He teaches through his parables, and he talked about 2 servants. One servant owed a lot of stuff to a kingdom, to a ruler. So right now he's going to be thrown in jail and beaten until he can pay back everything he owned. His families were going to be used as slaves. He was in a challenging situation. He was going to lose everything because he owed so much. So he goes in and he begs for mercy. And he's granted mercy. And for his debts forgiven. So he's happy, he's excited. So on his way out, he sees one of his brothers. His brother owed him money. So he stops him, grabs him up and shakes him. "Where's that money you owe me?" Slaps him up. "Give me that money." Has him thrown in jail so he can repay back all the debt that he owed. Upon hearing this, the master heard this and he was livid. He was angry. And he was angry because he didn't understand, if I forgave you and you owe much more debt than what this gentleman owes, why didn't you forgive him? So the master had him thrown in jail as well until he could pay back every debt that he owed because of his lack of forgiveness. I always love this parable of the merciful servant. Because you know what? I always want people to be patient with me. I always want people to forgive me. Hey, you need to forgive me. You need to be patient, right? We all make mistakes. But you know what? Let somebody make a mistake. Let somebody hurt me. Sometimes it gets a little difficult. But you know what I realized? Especially looking at this parable of the unmerciful servant and seeing how many times we should forgive our brother or sister. And that it should be unparalleled. It should be, you can't even put a number on it. Because that's why God put love in the Bible. Because we're going to constantly make mistakes. But when I think about this parable, the parable of the unmerciful servant, I think about this. Would you, if you had a choice to be imprisoned for the rest of your life or to be free, what would you rather do? You would rather be free, right? But here's why I bring this up. When you don't forgive someone, you're imprisoning yourself. When I mean you're imprisoning yourself, whatever you're not forgiving, you're holding on to, guess what? You can't get any further. You gotta let it go, as hard as it may seem. And I know a lot of us out there have a lot of pain and hurt that's been done to us. But if you hold on to it, guess what? It's only going to keep representing itself in different forms. Maybe through another situation, maybe through a child, who knows? But you don't want to live that way. You want to let it go so you can get out of prison. Because the person you're not forgiving, they're already living their life. They already got over it. The only person that didn't is yourself. Question again. Do you want to be in prison or do you want to be free? I don't know about you, but I want to be free. And the lesson of forgiveness is a great one. We forgive not for others, we forgive for ourselves so we can be free. So that bondage can't hold us. And we want to be merciful just like others, and our mighty God is merciful with us. Thank you for joining me today. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe, and see you next time on Faith in 5.